Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this money-grabbing book racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right. Yeah.
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about it.
Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no!
I like this.
Yes, indeed. Nitro's the glory, but e-buggy pacement. I'm all out of focuser. Let me get in focuser. Something's up with my computer. What's up? What's up, everybody? We are live. As you can see, the Viking is live from inside the Ronnefalk Arena, racing arena. What's up, Viking? I can't hear you. Oh, no. Now we have no volume. Nope, can't hear you. Can't hear you. There we go. Now we hear you.
Yeah. So what's up, everybody? I'm
what's up?
At my track, indoor track here in Sweden, and thought I would make a bit of a live show here with Keenan, kind of talking about the experience we had in USA here about a week and a half ago now.
I know it feels like it was so long ago.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming on. Thank you yeah, it was cool. It's so nice. I see. Look, I haven't got a tan.
Yeah,
I'm in the sun. I appreciate the sun after the NC. What's going on, everybody? Good to see everybody in here. Please share this. I know it's early in America. It's 1 o'clock on the East Coast. It's 10 o'clock West Coast time. We're doing this early so the people in Europe can also check this out. It's 7 p.m. there, so you have a healthy bunch of people there racing on road. That looks good. Things to do in Sweden.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we have to do here up north during winter season. Weather is not really good enough for us to be outdoors racing at this time. So today it was a little bit better, sunshine, but around 0 degrees Celsius. So that would be like 32 Fahrenheit, I guess. Pretty cold. I was planning to go to Denmark actually today, this morning, but there was a snowstorm, so wasn't sure that the roads were fine. It's about a 6-hour drive to that track, so I decided to move it up and go tomorrow and Friday instead. But the guy at the track called me, and they had a bit of a unfortunate happening there. The farmer who has the track, I guess he was like repairing the roof of the building or something, because it's an indoor track, and he was like washing the roof, I think, or repairing.
Did he fall?
No, he didn't fall, but he left like the windows and stuff open on the roof when he was like washing the roof off, so the track is like flooded.
Oh,
so,
no.
Now I cannot go tomorrow, Friday, so I'll have to postpone it and go next week instead.
Oh, you was gonna go to RC Thunder, is it called?
Yeah, RC Thunder.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks to everybody that's in here. We are gonna take some questions. I need to do some quick thank yous. Thank you to all of the NNRC squad around the world. We can't do without you guys. Thank you for all the support. Thank you to all the NNRC patrons and YouTube members. Can't do without you extra support. Thank you to these companies. They are Invisible Speed, High Tech RC, Sampadal USA, Mayako Beach RC, Techno RC, Clinic RC, Ignite Design RC, Bringing Back Gas Truck, RaceCraft USA, Call RC, my good boy, my good friend Danny down at WRCE, House of RC, RCGP, Ronnefalk Racing, JTP RC, 36 Minute, and of course, the other Swedish world champion, Alexander HagBerg. So if you guys want to, there's links for all of those sponsors or all of those advertisers in the written description. You can save some money. There are affiliate links. It helps us all out. All right, Viking. So this is not actually the conversation I was expecting to have after DNC.
Yeah.
But we're having it. But to be honest, I haven't really talked to you even since the Worlds. I mean, I saw you at RCGP, and it was kind of like a little bit of fun and business as usual. But yeah, after the Worlds, how do you recoup from that? So close, but yet so far. And, you know, I mean, it was draining for me. I was speechless for once. You know, so it was, how did you recoup from that? I know you did a little bit of vacationing, but how do you adjust from almost winning in your second Worlds to?
Yeah, it was definitely a close call there in Spain by the end of last year. But, you know, it was all good, though, because I think we, like, looking at the full year that we had, which was my first year with Mayako, I can't be anything else than happy and proud of what we achieved. I think winning the European Championship and also, you know, then finishing second at the Worlds and being very, very close to even winning it shows the amount of effort that we all put into you know, the program last year and to the new platform in the MX-8 buggy. So overall, I was very happy and pleased with the year, even though, of course, being that close to winning, it kind of sucked to, you know, finish second in the end. But, you know, David had a great week. He was on top in qualifying and the final. And, you know, he's a super strong driver. And I was, you know, we were all sure that he was going to be up there. So it was also, you know, tough for me to do anything starting from 11th. But yeah, you know, still, it's still a good second place, I'd say.
I'd say so. All right. So you took some time off over the winter. You didn't really do much RC. You didn't go to Montpellier. You did make some
racing, maybe, but I was still, you know.
Okay, you're right. You didn't do any racing, but I believe you were still practicing doing RC in the arena there, but no racing. You made two big, I would say well, the tire change was big, and then High Tech, obviously, welcome to High Tech. You know, I'm happy about that. Thank you to High Tech in the 50th anniversary. Looking stellar I almost said RCGP at DNC. Was good to see. Welcome. I think a lot of people are happy to see you there. But yeah, two big changes for you in the off season. Matrix tires. Maybe we can start off with a little bit about that. I know a lot of people may not know. I know that I don't even know much about them. I know that from the on-road side of things, but now you're running these new Matrix tires.
Yeah. So like basically, I kind of knew the day was coming when I was going to have a tire deal again. So as many of you know, I was free on tires and was able to kind of run whatever was best and whatever was working, basically. And I think, you know, not having the contract and having a good relationship to all the different manufacturers, I was always, you know, able to get good, you know, the stuff and when I needed it, basically. But that kind of, you know, I knew it was going to get difficult at one point when like team drivers started to complain, and I think that's kind of what happened. You know, a little bit towards the end of last year, as more people were kind of doing the same thing that I did. Mm-hmm. So basically, when their tire wouldn't work, they would just put whatever worked on their car, even though they might have a deal with someone else. So yeah, there were definitely some complaints that I was able to get the stuff when they were working good. So basically, you know, if Hot Race Run Race would work good, I would go there. Nicola would, you know, happily be giving me tires. And for the team drivers, that would kind of hurt them a little bit, because obviously that, you know, their advantage would kind of be gone, as I was also getting the tires. And if their tire didn't work, I would go, you know, either if the 6MIC was working, I could go there and you know, I was able to get them, while the Hot Race team drivers didn't. They were stuck. So it was like their advantage was never they never really got the advantage when their tire was working because, myself and also some of the other top guys were able to get the tires. And I think, that was kind of part of it, part of the whole thing. The other thing was just, to kind of focus on a couple of different tires rather than having to know exactly what to do with all the different tread designs, compounds, etc. from different manufacturers, because sometimes you would also have to set up the car differently. So yeah, it was just a good time to do it. I think I made 3-4 years like that. Of course, the other reason would also be you can't say that I'm not getting any pay right now, so that's something as well, to pick up another paycheck, of course. Which all it's all played a part in the decision that I decided to make. And it might not have been at this race at DNC. Obviously, it was the first time for us to be in the States running the tire. So basically, everywhere we tried last year on the European tracks, the tire has been performing really well. And I think the test I did last year, I'm just very pleased with the performance of the tire and how they worked and everything. So I was never doubting that the performance wouldn't be there. Then coming to DNC, it was a new condition for us. Leading up to the event, we were at Thunder Alley practicing a couple of days before. And at this track, it was a little bit more hard packed, I would say, maybe a bit cleaner in the groove. And everything was just feeling amazing. Tire was working really well. Some of the other top guys were also there to practice. And I would say if I wasn't the fastest, I was right up there with Canas and all these guys. So, I had a really good feeling going into the race. And then obviously everything went kind of sideways already from the first day.
That was crazy. Okay. All right. So I just want to rewind because they actually have done well in Europe. I mean, Davide killed everybody in the Italian Nats this past weekend.
Yeah, and also Montpellier, he was super strong, almost 2 laps to the guys, at least 1.5, I think it was. So, I was never doubting the performance of the tire because of, the experience I had with the test I did last year. They were nothing but great. So this was new for us. It was different, not something that we haven't tried the tire on before. And I think the tread pattern and everything was right. It was just a matter of just not having the right compound for this condition. But the guys at the factory, they are already analyzing the experience and the things we learned during this event. We were making everything possible to be able to get the stuff to work. And I think, to be honest, I think we got pretty close because in e-buggy, I was in A main. After, just a couple of laps there, I was up in fourth when Dakota had a mistake on the straight. And unfortunately, I hit him straight on and I got the worst out of that. So, I think that the true position in e-buggy could have been between a third and fifth position. I ended up seventh, I believe, in the end. But I definitely think... we didn't have the best stuff there at the race, but there was so many other things that went wrong with the Nitro.
Yes,
with the Nitro class. So tire was definitely not the best, but it would have been good enough to just put it in the A or even the top of the B, having the chance to bump to the A. But nothing went my way.
Right, he was on the back foot. He was so. I'm glad we're on this because I want people to understand how much of the back foot you was on so we had the seeding on the big track on the Wednesday, which was one of the days that actually felt like we was at DNC, which I was happy about. It was super windy and it dried the track out really fast, and also the water track was considerably much slower, right? So in the first e-buggy, like you got out there, do half a lap, and poof, there goes something blue in your car. I was like, okay, that's one done.
So that was so basically I did like 10 to 15 packs with the e-buggy probably on the 4 days before at Thunder Alley. Everything running very good. Car was feeling great. I always love running the e-buggy because, for some reason, I always drive and have a good connection with the car, and it just handles the US tracks really well too. I made plenty of packs there before to make sure everything was good. Then we got the final update of the software just the day before. So this is basically the last kind of pre-production version of the ESC that we're now. I mean, it should be on the market already, but I mean, due to some of these things, we had to make sure that they work before we start selling them. And luckily, unfortunately, it happened to me in the seating practice, but the good thing is that the ESCs are not being sold yet, so we could, we had time to solve this. Right. So, yeah, I updated there the last. I think I made one run before ending my practice day at Thunder Alley. Everything was good with this new software, and then on the second run, for some reason, when you just started the car, the things just blew up. So basically, I had the ESC go burn there after half lap, and we understood, immediately that there must have been something to do with the software, because obviously the stuff had been working really well for me in 10 to 15 packs the days before. So yeah, for the second practice, we just went back with the stuff I used on the practice days, and I didn't have any issues then for the rest of the race. So that was just something. There was a mistake in that software that was made by the guy who the software engineer. So there was, I don't know exactly what happened, but Oscar and those guys found the issue, and it's now solved. So that's good. So when we got the updated one there after the first seating, everything ran smooth for the rest of the race.
Yeah, and then in your first Nitro seating, your engine moved. You was a couple of laps in.
Yeah,
that was like, I was like, what is going on here? And then to top it all off, I was like, all right, you went out there, you did well in e-buggy, and I was like, all right, so he's gonna be all right when it comes to Nitro buggy qualifying. As soon as I'm like, he's out there warming up, and I'm like, I feel sprinkles on my face. I'm like, it's gonna rain, and this guy is gonna be so far down.
Yeah,
tomorrow in qualifying.
It was just I don't know what to say about this first day. I think it was one of the toughest for me at the tracks in many, many years. But yeah, so we had that happen in the seating of e-buggy, the first one. Then truck was okay, just a little bit pushy the first round. Then, as you said, moved into Nitro seating first round, and 2 laps in, the screws of the motor came loose and the motor moved, so I lost drive. And I guess I just missed tightening those screws. I can't remember last time that happened, but
who was in charge of that? You or Oscar?
I was in charge of the motor, and clutch was my department. So Oscar took care of everything else, but I was doing the engine and the clutch. So yeah, that was. I don't know how I could have forgot to tighten the screws, but I guess it happens to the best of us. So. Yeah, I got 2 laps in there. So basically, I had half a lap of e-buggy, 2 laps of Nitro. I had a full round of the truck. So basically, like 6 minutes on the track in the first round of seating, where the others, they probably had like 20 at this time, or 18. So then moving into the second one, obviously we updated the software on the ESC to the now fixed one. Everything was good. And looking at the overall pace, I think I was like second or third in that round behind Mayfield. So everything felt good. I was just missing the outright speed. I think I was like 3/10 off on the very best lap of the guys. So I was very close, just missing a bit of track time, I would say, to be able to throw those heaters in. But yeah, seated in the B, I think I was like BQ or something like this. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. It's a strong field, so there's many good drivers, and if you're in the B heat, you're still pretty good, I would say. Then,
but there was a lot of people in different heats that they weren't supposed to be in.
Yeah.
I'm glad you beat JQ, because if you wouldn't have beat him, he would have talked some smack to you that night.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So yeah, second truck was a little bit better. We got the car to turn a bit more, but yeah, everyone was improving a little. So I think I don't know if I was in the B heat there as well. B or C maybe. But anyway, then moving on to the Nitro, like you said, I was the last heat out. So we were like 5 pro heats. My heat was the last of the 5. And just as we roll out, sky opens and heavy rain comes down. So I felt like I needed a track time. We still didn't know at this point if we were going to move over to the small track, even though everyone was expecting it. So I just kept running because I needed the track time. So even though it was raining, I just kept driving. But the lap times of Mayfield in the heat before was about 6 seconds faster on the 2 consecutive laps. So this had me seeded into the first pro heat in qualifying. And I think that's a big, part of the misunfortunate, wrestle there.
Yeah, you can't even. I think a lot of people will sit here and say, "Well, you're still fast. You can go faster." But really, in those heats, you don't really have anybody to pace yourself off of either.
No, I think it is that, and also like knowing the track was super small. Obviously, everyone knows by now. So like 16, 17 seconds, 12 cars on the track. I knew I was going to have to pass a lot of cars in the qualifiers, and on that kind of a track. There can be cars upside down and you won't have time to kind of notice, to react, to avoid them. So just getting a clean run, I knew it was going to be very, very hard already moving into qualifying. And then knowing that I wouldn't have, there wouldn't be any, room for mistakes on my own part. So I knew that there was going to be time lost in those, in the moments where I had to go past cars. In the first round, I think I had like 2 or 3 coming together with cars upside down. Especially I had one big one on the straight. I remember the car was upside down behind one of the pillars I didn't see. So I just came down the straight. I hit him full speed and I ended up on the roof. So
I remember that.
I lost like 10 seconds and, it's not easy when you lose 10 seconds. To the top guys to be able to do something good out of it. So I tried my very, very best, but it was like super frustrating to kind of keep it
I know.
Yes.
I knew you was frustrated Saturday because like Saturday was like bop, bop, bop. No, was it Saturday? Or Thursday. Whatever, you was like going. I was like, yeah, them guys are cold. It was a long day. The small track was surprising. I called it, I don't know, you're probably a little too young to remember this, but we used to have this game called RC Pro-Am, and used to have like puddles on it and oil and all this type of stuff. So we had one of these type of tracks. And I want to say I'm glad we did because we raced. I enjoyed it as a spectator and talking to people at home. They enjoyed it. As a racer, it looked hard. Some people, I was like, I think I still in my brain saying these European guys will do good here. But it really kind of went to a real USA style, rough, supercross, but arena cross type of track. It was hard to follow you guys because it was like, whang, and then I come back around and there you are again. But we got it done. And I was just like, all right, so Viking's going to go in there. He's going to do what he's got to do. And he's just going to qualify. Well, I remember during your qualifying when you flipped over on that. And we only got 2. So they changed it from 3 to 2 qualifiers. So it was always on the back foot. Like you needed to have a really good one. You couldn't get one.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like, the first round I had that crash on the straight, losing 10 seconds. I think I qualified maybe 24th or so in the first round. Knowing then I would need a good result to be even, able to go into the B. It was tough. And especially as like on the first lap of the second round, I remember, it felt pretty good in the warm-up. I just started my loop, and I think either on the first or the second lap, I came onto the straight and over that little hill before you went onto the asphalt, and it was very rough through there.
I remember that. I was just like, it's over.
It was like first or second lap, and I just came over a little bit too much sideways, and the car just hit that hole, flipped over on the straight, and I lost like 6 seconds there on the first lap. I think it was like a 22-second lap. So, then like knowing that I had that wrestle from the first round, crashing on the first or second lap there, losing 6 seconds, and then knowing I would have to make another, I think the qualify was 6 minutes. I would have to drive, like 5.5 more minutes through cars without having any issues at all to be able to even get some decent wrestles out of it. And yeah, I mean, I tried to put my head down, but it was just very tough. I would have maybe a minute or two pretty clean after that crash on the second qualifier. And then there would be, some lap cars, or sometimes you could, come up on like 3-4 cars that were together. So it was just not like, I think they tried their very best to get out of the way, but sometimes there's just not enough room, especially with the track being like it was. Everybody kind of wants to go around the bumps, and then that makes the line very narrow. So
I saw you trying to go through the bumps too a lot, and
yeah,
it was.
I mean, I tried basically everything I could out there, and I'm not here to say to blame like the traffic or anything for my bad wrestle, because it was just everything at this race just it didn't want to cooperate with me at all. It was seating practice, weather, then me making a couple of errors myself in qualifying, maybe struggling a little bit in practice and first qualify with the car setup. I think we got the shock package really good for the second one. We saw that in e-buggy as well, because I started 6th or 7th on the grid. So e-buggy felt pretty good with the shock setup changes we made for the conditions. And then maybe just not, finding the best working tire for the condition that race. So it was just everything came at me at once. It was very frustrating for sure. And then with the weather being like it was cold, rainy, it was kind of a boring mood there, because
It was not fun. Because everybody was
nothing to do with the race or anything, but just like having
Right.
all the tents, like all the walls up. Like normally, if the weather would be good, everyone would be sitting in the tents with the walls turned down, so people could walk up and talk to you and everything. Now everyone was just
you couldn't see anybody.
Yeah, everyone was just on their own. All the tents were kind of closed up, and yeah, it was not.
It wasn't
not
the best atmosphere. No, it wasn't.
Atmosphere, unfortunately.
So we fast forward a little bit. You're already frustrated. Then you come in Saturday morning, and this is so I haven't recorded with JQ. So those of you that are waiting for JQ and I to record, we were supposed to record yesterday, but he's sick. I'm sick actually a little bit too. So hopefully we're going to record with him tomorrow or Friday, and we'll go into a little bit more detail about what happened at the race, at the party, and all that stuff. But I went to sleep that night, and I was like, "Boy, Lefty, aren't you glad you went your fat tail home instead of going out and partying?" Because the last message I got was, "Oh, you just missed all the BS with JQ, right?" And I said, "Okay, something happened." I went to sleep, and then I woke up, and I was like, "You was like to the track early." And I remember saying to Axel, like we was all getting ready, I was like, "Oh, somebody caught the tents in at the pits," and I was just like, "Oh," I was so angry when I saw that, because it's happened. Things like that have happened before to when we was doing JQ stuff. So I came to the track. I was so angry, and I came there and I saw you like sitting right, because I was pitting like not too far from you. And there was your spot, and I was just like, "What the?" Like I couldn't believe. I went and looked up, and I'm like, "Well, why your spot? Like right here is you. JQ's there." I didn't know what had happened all that night before, but like I said, we'll talk about that with JQ. So we come in there. That also must have kind of played on your mind a little bit as well.
Yes and no. Like it was just like, first you come to the track, you're not super excited. It's like raining, cold. You're not like doing, very good in the race. And yeah, we came to the track pretty early there on Saturday because Hampus was racing in the D, I think. So he was up like, in one of the first 5-6 races. So yeah, that's why we came early. And when we, just entered the pits, I can see the tents, like right when we pulled up with the car, on the outside. I saw that the canopy was slashed open, and of course it was right where I was pitting as well. So I left like some of the stuff on the table the night before, like I did every night, and everything was just soaking wet when I got there. So yeah, it was just another of those things that kind of added to the already.
Oh, dude, I was so heated. I was so angry. And people on the internet, then I was like, all right, nobody's doing nothing about this. That's when I made the post. And then it was funny because people were like, maybe the water did it. I was like, no, like water, like there's been no water settled in there. We even got accused of doing it ourselves, stuff like that. But yeah, somebody did slash the tent. We'll talk about that and everything involved in that on the recorded podcast. But that heated things up. We go into Saturday mains day, Truggy. Let's talk about that, because now obviously, we're a little bit upset now. We think who's done it. I'm not gonna say, we're gonna say that team begins with an H and ends with a B and has an R racing in it. But they're over there. They're on some of our heats. Things heat up between you and Pavitas in, what was it, a Truggy B, man?
Yeah, it was the Truggy B. So I mean, I was just sitting there all day. Basically, the first half of the day, I didn't do anything because I was so over it. So it was very hard trying to find motivation to even do anything at that point, because, everything.
That's how the whole atmosphere was in the pits. That's what I think people don't understand was.
Yeah, it was just
it was a bummer. It sucked. Yeah. And then what sucked even more was the response, I think.
Yeah. So like, obviously a lot of people would come in during that day kind of talking about what happened last night. I heard it from left and right. I don't know exactly what happened or who I can trust anymore, because I had heard so many different versions of it. So just very sad. Like you think that you can trust some of the people out there, and you can't really do it. So that's kind of shitty. But then moving on to Truggy B main. So so basically I had a pretty good start. I was like up in the lead or in second behind Bertram then towards the end of the race. I kind of saved the tires for a possible main, because I was running J Concepts recons on the truck, as Matrix doesn't have any truck tires. So I ran those through qualifying, and I had one set, so I kind of wanted to save them. They were still in pretty okay shape. Wanted to save them for the main if I would bump, as they were kind of low on the stock. I put a set of hole shots for the truck B main. M3s, probably should have put M4s, but I was struggling a little bit with grip. So in the beginning of the run, everything was feeling pretty good. I got to a lead and was able to drive pretty smooth, just controlling my pace and not making any stupid mistakes or so. But Seth Van Dalen, he was charging hard from the back, and with 5-6 minutes to go, he was like around 4 or 5 seconds behind me, I think. And I was really struggling towards the end with the grip of the car. So it would be kind of slidey and also a little bit too sensitive in the bumps, I would say. So it was tough to keep the truck on the line. And Seth would, he would close in on me pretty quick there towards the end. So I think he makes it by with like 2-3 laps to go, and I'm staying pretty close behind. I was within a second. I hear that we have like about 15 seconds to go, and we were on a new lap, so it would be close of us making another lap or not. But I kept kind of staying on his tail for him to do any mistake. I didn't feel like I had speed to kind of close the gap, so it would be for him to make a mistake if I was going to bump. We come through the middle of the track, and Pavitas was there, so I think he maybe let Seth by just the corners before or something. Then over the 3 rollers in the middle, he goes wide. So what happened was I expected him being out wide, because I was, going double single in tight. So I kept it tight, and I thought he was going to wait because I was in the battle for second. So, I would go in tight, push out wide, and that was my line over the double and single, and then keep a wide line onto the straight. But yeah, he didn't wait there. So he just went for the triple, I guess. So yeah, I'm coming from the inside, pushing out wide in my line, and he goes for the triple. And yeah, we run each other off the track. So that was the end of that race for me. Not saying that I probably would have bumped anyway, but there was still a chance because Seth made it over onto another lap, and I probably would have too with just finishing that lap. So then you never know. But it's just like one of these things. Like if I was in that situation, if I was completely out of the game or for the bump spot, if I was a lap or two down, and I have like someone fighting, if it's for second or third, or if it's whatever position it is, if I know they're fighting, I would pull off and just stop until they have passed. He didn't, so we ended up colliding, drove each other off the track, hit the driver's stand pretty hard even, and yeah, it was pretty much over from there. But like I said, probably wouldn't have bumped anyway, but it was just yeah, what he did I thought was very wrong in that situation. Your mic is muted.
So you walked off the stand. I missed all of this. You walked up the stand. You must have like smacked him her and then flicked off his hat. And then all I caught was the tail end of like Robert, everybody down there. So what happens after all of that when you guys are down there in the kerfuffle?
Yeah, so I was pretty mad at this point. So especially hearing all the stories.
Yes, of course.
From what happened the night before. Maybe now it did, like some of the stories that we heard up until then wasn't true then. So after all this mess happened, people were saying whoever slashed the tent was someone not being Ryan probably.
Right.
So yeah, everything was just, I was so frustrated. So walking off, he was standing like next, I think one guy to the right of me on the driver's stand. So I just like grabbed his hat and I threw it at him, walked off the driver's stand. And then, so I left my radio and the headset to Dad, still pretty pissed off. And then like some of I think it was Robert went over to them or to Ryan to talk because he also had some issues with Ryan during one of the races. I don't know which one it was. So Robert was there. So I just walked up to the situation. I think this is what, if I remember well, this is what happened. So I walked up there and I kind of just asked him like whenever he's going to show some respect, because I think what he did was completely wrong. I was fighting for a bump spot into one of the A mains, and I think he should have just stopped, even though it looks like on the slow-mo, it kind of looks like I drive him off the track probably because I'm coming from inside to outside. But yeah, I think, it could have been handled, could have been avoided with him just, stopping there, letting us race it out. And then, that's basically what I told him, like to be able to get some respect from the other drivers, he needs to understand that like what he did was wrong, I think.
Yeah, it was heated. I would say there was definitely rivalry before. Now it's definitely out in the open and there's definitely some rivalry. All right, enough about that. You finished. You didn't make it into the A in Truggy. You finished 7th in E-Buggy. Then we're going into Nitro Buggy the next day. And we're like, all right, you are going to do it. You're going to bump from the D to the A. This is what I think is going to happen. When I saw you went out on the same Matrix tires, I kind of knew. I was like, I don't think it's going to happen because I felt you needed like I saw some of the best tires I saw that were like the Proline M4s. And that would be why y'all was, if you would have told me that y'all would have been the top European finisher at this race, I would have told you all you was crazy. But they worked really well. I watched them on Chris Morales' car. You went out there. I saw you was trying to get out to the front and get up there, but it was just a little bit too hard to overcome all of that. How was your approach going into Sunday?
Yeah, so we made some changes for the e-buggy there the night before. So we had the A-main practice and then the e-buggy main. And my car was actually, I thought it was the best it's been in the main. And I think that showed as well. I was, like I said, I think the true position could have been from 3rd to 5th. Ended up 7th in the end because of some unfortunate incidents on the straight there with Dakota. Then I had a really good race in e-buggy with Mayfield all the time. We were like fighting each other very close, and it was a fun race. But yeah, we took kind of what we learned from the changes we made on the e-buggy. We kind of applied them to the Nitro car as well, then for the D main. And we tested a bunch of tires throughout the race, obviously. And the one I used in the A-main of e-buggy felt the best so far. So I just kept using, I was on them as well for my D-main in Nitro buggy because that's the tire I felt the best. The only difference was that for my D-main, it was kind of in the middle of the day and the track was a little bit more dry. So yeah, probably should have gone with a different tire because I was lacking a little bit of grip. The whole thing though is like, if we would have been on the big track, I think I would have had less of a, it would have been less of a difference compared to the others. But with us being on the small track and especially on this asphalt section, I think the asphalt section is where I lost like 3 tenths a lap because I was not able to get the car to turn coming onto the straight and then coming back onto the dirt after the straight. I was just missing grip there and it was pushing really bad. So I had to slow down a lot to even get the car to turn in at all. So that's like what I mean. Like on the dirt, I felt, it felt pretty good. I would say I was able to kind of stick with the others like for the lap when I was on the dirt section, but then they would, kind of get me on the straight where they have more grip to accelerate. But so, yeah, tire pick, like the decision of the tire choice we made for the D-main was probably not right. Car felt okay, but it was just a little bit pushy. And then like you said, the Proline M4 seemed to work really well there. And I had Heckert was in my heat using those tires. I don't know if
he won in it. I believe he won.
Was Joao in the D or was he in the C? I can't remember.
I think it's in the C.
Yeah, probably in the C. I don't remember who was
might have been in the D. He might have been in the D.
I don't know who was second. I don't even remember the D main at all. But I was struggling. I felt like I was fighting too hard with the car to be able to kind of get the clean run that I needed to be able to bump. And a couple of mistakes mid-run kind of set me back. And from there, I was just never able to get back. It was a pretty short race too. I think it was 10 or 12
minutes.
Yeah.
And then it was like, it's all over.
Like, if you have a rough, start or a rough couple of laps, there's no way you'll be able to make up the time you lose. So,
especially when you don't have the tire for it. I think, so you feel that if you would have been on a bigger track, you would have been able to make up for a little bit more if you're driving, but the smaller track with the bumps and the laps being so short kind of took that your driving advantage away?
I wouldn't say driving advantage. I think, on the small track, it was mainly just the asphalt section. Like the asphalt section, it really killed me for some reason. The compound just didn't work. But at least we saw what worked, and on the experience that we got from this race, the guys Christian and those guys at the factory, they're now analyzing what we could have had instead for a compound, and next time we'll go to one of these events, we'll be make sure that we are ready for it. So it's a learning process with everything that is new, just like it was with the car last year. But it's like one of it's one of the biggest races of the year, and of course your goal and your aim is to be up there fighting for the top spots. And then with everything happening at this race, it was just very frustrating not to be able to kind of show show my normal speed or whatever I would say.
Yeah, that's actually a great segue into the last question here I have for you. Then we're going to go on to talk about Tebow and the A-main. Then we'll take some questions. I know you have to be going at the top of the hour, so we're going to try and make it fast. I know that you was under immense pressure by everybody, even myself saying it. You know, I'm sure Joseph was saying it, and everybody was saying it. Why you wouldn't run another tire brand? And like, let's be honest, like this is a race that you're probably the favorite to win it. You've won it before, and to have, you know, to have you in a D-man is very like, no, what I would never thought that, you know. So I could imagine you was under a lot of pressure. I know you said on Facebook prior to this that you wouldn't run any other tires. You stuck by that. How difficult was that for you? And what is it worth that, or is it a bad result worse than a good result with another brand? What do you think?
Well, to be honest, I think you know, the reason I didn't want to put any other tires is because in my contract I cannot. So I don't have an open contract, and I'm not the guy who signs the contract and then go run whatever, because you know that's not what I do. Of course, I had a lot of people asking if I shouldn't put another, you know, tires on my car, but no, I didn't want to do it because then, you know, people would be all over Facebook and everything writing about it. You know, he signed a tire deal, but he's still running whatever, just like many other guys have been doing the last 2 years. So I didn't want to be one of those guys. So if one day the Mayako car is not the best at that track, it's not like I'm going and taking an HP or an Associated because that's the faster car at the event. So I stuck with you know, my tire, and we tried to find the best that we could. This time it didn't work out for us, but you know, it's not like it's the end of the world. We gained experience. We learned that we have to improve. It's a condition that we you know, face that we haven't tried the tire on before, but I'm sure that, you know, just give us a little bit of time, and we will be back there, and our tire will be working on those in those conditions, just like they do on the European tracks.
What was that conversation like on Monday? Oh, when you got him
about what?
Matrix guys.
I mean, it was not like we had a discussion only on Monday. They were with me during the race, and we have a group chat on WhatsApp. And yeah, if I would have showed you everything, you know, the guys in Italy, they were very supportive. Davide was trying to help me out with the experience he has had so far, and it was just very good to see like the kind of work and help they tried to give me, because obviously Davide has been able to drive a bit more with the tire, as he can do that in Italy, and I've been stuck indoors in Sweden. So yeah, even him sitting at home, he was trying to help me out, so that was great, I thought. And also the other guys, of course, Christian and Polito was also giving their inputs and feedback. So I'm really, you know, we're onto something good, and unfortunately it didn't work here at the DNC this year. But like I said, it's a very new product, and I'm sure, and I never doubt that we will be able to get there because of the just the dedication that Christian puts in and the resources that he has, and you know, in the speed that he is able to develop the things. Next time we're out there, we'll be you know, fighting for the top spots, I'm sure.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Oh, we have some spam in her. Let's get rid of this. Block user. All right. Next question. That's a lot of pressure. Like I can imagine what that was. But I will say this. Like, I think after you did make your D-man, I kind of saw you relax. I kind of saw you for the first time enjoy yourself a little bit. I think he was like, all right, well, I'm not racing anymore. We sat off. We watched the B-man, which was pretty good. I thought Daddy was going to get up there and do it. He was in second for a while. Tebow gets through. Start of the A-man. He's up in like fifth. I'm watching this. I'm watching him get up. I'm like, honestly, I'm thinking Fenn's going to run away with this. He looked fast all weekend. He gets out a little bit. That's what I liked about this small track. It made for exciting racing. When I saw Tebow like in second hunting him down, I was like, he's going to do it. I thought he was going to do it. I did not think I had Tebow top 5 where he finished, but I didn't have him competing for like going up to battle Fenn. Like, not just look, what people don't understand, I saw pace that I haven't seen out of Tebow in a long, long time. on that in that A main.
Yeah, I think he just he got everything together pretty good there for the main. I know he went on the Amazonia tire before most of the hot race guys were on the Bangkok, so I think he made a good choice on the tires for the conditions, which were getting rougher and rougher. And watching, we were standing in the beginning of the straight, kind of cheering him on as he started the A main and saw the good start that he had from the back, coming from the B. It was great to see, and like you just said, like for that, for between like maybe 10th minute up until like minute 30 or 25 or something, he was definitely catching the guys, and I don't know if he was up in second at one point or
He got up there.
Yeah, he was in second or third, and at this point, he was actually the faster guy on the track, so it was really good to see, and I think. Even though our setups were, we found out that the setups between me and Jared were a little bit different. I think like shock package, we were pretty close on shock package, and his car seemed to work pretty well there in the main, and he was able to pick the lines which he wanted. And he had like a rough 5 minutes in the middle of the main where he kind of fell back, and that kind of cost him the podium. I think he could have probably been at least third. But a couple of mistakes and rough laps there in the middle of the race. I know
that's what won it for Mayfield. Like, Fan had some rough laps. Yeah. And, man, what a great drive by Mayfield. I think great driving by, I know Barry is saying something. It was great driving by Fend as well. But Mayfield kind of put his head down. Fend made some mistakes. It was a great race. I did not have. I mean, I thought that Mayfield could win it, but I didn't have him winning. I have Fenn winning it.
Yeah, I mean, you can never count Mayfield out, but there were probably not many that thought that Mayfield would get this one. I was thinking Dakota would probably run away with it, based on how his car looked and how he drove. But a couple of mistakes, and on that small track, everything being so hectic. Mayfield, put a strong last part of the main together and was able to come out on top.
Sweet. All right. And that thus ends our DNC chat. I guess we should take some questions. I know you don't have much time, so
I guess we can have like another 10.
Okay, so let's have some. We're gonna have some questions now. Do I have anything else to ask you here? What's next for you? Are you going to the warm-up race? I would expect, right? In Denmark?
Yeah, I would be at the NXC warm-up, which is in the end, like 20th of April. Before that, I will be going to Spain for a week of testing, together with Joseph, Robert, and also Nils, the young kid from Sweden, and probably also Hampus is coming. So we'll be doing some testing in Spain, drive at Redovan, because we have the Euros coming up there later this year. I mean, that's what I have in my program the next month and so. Then like in May, we move into like IBC in Portugal. We have a Matrix contest race in Italy in May as well. And then next up would be e-buggy Euros, probably 8-scale e-buggy. And then we're in.
Where are the e-buggy Euros this year?
It's going to be in Frankfurt, in Germany.
In Germany? All right. Benjamin James, David, are you going to try and run the 10-scale Worlds in Arizona in September?
That's we are thinking about making it. We still have to kind of decide what car and stuff we'll be running if we do it. I don't have any 10-scale deal right now, so yeah, we still have to decide all that and see if it's like, how do you say, like, I haven't driven on dirt or indoor clay in 4 or 5 years probably, so we would probably need to be there at least once before the race, and I don't know if the schedule allows it or if there will be time for that. So yeah, we're gonna check the schedule there for the end of the year, and hopefully I can do the 10 scale worlds, even though I know it will be very tough without experience on the track and
I didn't even watch any of the Desert Classic this past weekend. I had a weekend without RC. P-Fin, chicken pot pie or chicken noodle soup? Right now I want chicken noodle soup. I'm feeling sick. Joseph Fisher, will DR be back at DNC in the future? We have a couple of people asking that question.
So I think ever since the DNC moved to Paris, the weather has always been a factor. In Fair Farm in Phoenix, it was much safer. It's a race. I always said that I love the DNC just because of the big event as it is. All the pros are there, so of course I want to do it. But now, ever since it moved to Paris, the weather, like I said, has been a factor. We have had rain days, and this year it was obviously very, very bad. So I don't know if they are looking into moving the dates maybe to a later date or something to make sure that the weather is okay. But yeah, we'll have to check. Maybe we decide next year to make another US race instead in a better season where the weather is going to be good, or maybe even an indoor race so you're sure to run, because there's a lot of money that goes into a trip like this, and to have the weather like we had this year, you don't want that again. And like I said, the weather hasn't been great in this location the past years either. So I think it's just in California in February, it's a little bit early probably to be safe. So yeah, if they move the race into March or something, or maybe I hit another US event instead, like Silver State or something like this. Of course, I want to go over to US and race there as well. So if it's not the DNC, it will be one of the other big ones for sure.
What other race besides Joe's races are you interested in going, like PNB, anything like that?
I think I would probably do Silver State.
It's the easiest race to do.
Yeah, you're sure to run because it's indoors, and yeah, everyone said that it's a great experience.
But it's similar to the atmosphere that we had at this past DNC, because everybody's either wrenching or in their hotels. So
yeah, well, then that's not maybe the best then, but in terms of the track and everything, people seem to enjoy the event, so maybe that one would be a better one to go to, or
maybe
PNB. Yeah, I've been thinking about it, but I'm not sure. I heard some stuff with the practice they have going on there for the race. It's kind of hurting. So, not sure I'll be doing that one. But like I said, either maybe AMS, Southern Indoor Nats, or Silver State. Wicked Weekend is probably a good event.
Yeah,
too.
Wicked Weekend's a nice one.
Yeah.
Barry Baker, would you ever think of coming over to a US race and being a mechanic for Dagani? I just love how Dagani just sits in the corner and then he gets an idea and it's like, you've got to do this, you've got to do this, you got to run the Mugen 10.75 springs in the rear and cut 1 millimeter off the coil to make it work properly. I'm telling you, it's going to be dialed.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe one day, but probably not.
Steve Harris, do you think we should swap the event Silver State in February and DNC in May? I think if he could, it would be, but I think I don't think he could get that date again. So
yeah, I think that's what I heard as well. He only has one slot for the Silver State. Otherwise, that was my suggestion as well, to swap the dates of the DNC and the Silver State. Then I'm sure that the race in California in what is it, April, May, should be fine. But
yeah, you're not going to Philippine Masters either, by the way.
No, unfortunately, I cannot go to either that or the Silver State this year because I'm going to Phil from Neo Buggy. He has his wedding party in Caribbean, so I'll be at his wedding party this year. So this time I would have to skip the PM23 and the Silver State.
Okay.
Philippine
Randy
Masters.
Romanek, he wants to know, in the future, if you are at a race and don't have a tire that will work, will you choose other options to be competitive?
No, not as long as I have a contract.
Good. Ken Tipton, I don't know if he's talking about the HB buggy or the Mayako buggy. He says, are you having problems keeping the e-buggy together with the HB brace? I'm having problems when I land or nose or have a bad crash.
Yeah, I mean, this can for sure happen. It happened to me too. I think what usually goes first is probably the, at least on the Mayako one. I don't know which car is talking about, but the Mayako prototype one that we have, it looks like it's kind of weak where the, how do you say, we use shock ends to connect the rod with the center dismount and the front top plate. So if you have a really hard crash, I think that will happen.
What is happening? Is the dog bone popping out?
I haven't. Well, the dog bone should be staying in, but the brace itself kind of bends.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, this is probably an issue with the hard crashes, having the layout like that. But I think having the links, you know, all the cars that I have had with the links on the top, they have been working really well. So I have seen some with the carbon top deck, so maybe that's something that we will try later this year. I saw some of the guy in the Mayako performance community. They had carbon top decks made for the e-buggy, so definitely interested to try that later this year.
Sweet. Well, if you guys have any questions, please ask them in the comments below. We're going to be wrapping this up soon. Before we go on any further, I just wanted to tell you guys that you guys can join me next week on a new platform called Whatnot. I'll be going there. I'm collaborating with them. Think of this as eBay meets Instagram or TikTok. I'll be going live on there next week. I'll post links for all of this. If you're a buyer or seller of RC stuff or anything, and you're looking to do something new, check it out. So join me there next week, and I'll give you more of an explanation of Whatnot. So let's see. Some companies want the best results for you, so they work with you.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there are some companies out there that will do that. I think you know, with the like I said, with the dedication of Christian and everyone at the Matrix factory, I have no doubts that we will have a tire that works in any conditions. Yeah, it was unfortunate we didn't have it here, but everywhere else the tire has been performing very well, especially here in Europe, like you've seen at the Montpellier and the Italian Nats. Davide and also Polito has been doing a really good job. So excited to get the European racing season started here and to learn more about the tire and the setting up the car for the tire as well. But yeah, I have no doubts that we will be competitive at any tracks in the near future. Like I said, things are very young, and it was the same thing when I joined Mayako. It's hard to have the best product on all the different conditions as you just release like a prototype or a car kit.
Okay. Devin Anthony, he wants to know, David, did you and Tebow work together to get back on track, bounce ideas off each other? How's that working out with so many alpha males in the camp?
I think we had a very good, you know, it was a very good mood, I would say, between Tebow, myself, and Robert at the race. And I think, like I said a little earlier, Jared's setups, they were not like that close to mine. I would say he wanted some different stuff out of the car, and his driving style just, you know, allows for some setups that I don't feel comfortable with. So in that matter, yeah, we didn't like for roll centers and stuff, we might have not have been that close, but for a shock package and diffs, we were running pretty similar setups. So yeah, of course we bounce ideas off each other, and I'm happy about the you know, the trip. We stayed at the same house, myself, Robert, and Jared, and even though there were late nights, we got some time to kind of sit down and chat a bit. And I enjoyed that part of the trip for sure. Hopefully next time I can be in the show fighting for the top spots as well.
Okay. Dennis Coley
One
wants to know.
funny thing. Oh, funny. I don't know if it's funny, but one thing that I found out, or that Dad actually looked up, was I haven't missed an A main since 2015.
Okay.
It was actually the first A main I missed since 2015, which is pretty. When you think about it, it's pretty crazy. Like so many semifinals, so many races you've gone to in those years.
Let's not do that again.
Yeah.
Let's just make the finals.
Yeah.
Let's just make the finals. Dennis Coley, do you have any? I guess he's talking about the e-buggy, any chassis stiffness for flex in the buggies to stop this. I don't know. I haven't. You would know more about this than me.
Yeah, I mean, on the e-buggies we have the top links, so they're connected from the top plate to the center diff mount, and then from the center diff mount to the rear end. So then the car will be able to kind of have a bit of flex this way, but it's pretty stiff, like back and forward. Mm-hmm. And then on the Nitro, of course, we have the plastic chassis brace that goes down. So yeah, there are two different versions between the Nitro and the e-buggy. The thing is that you can't really use the same system like you have on the Nitro and the e-buggy because of the layout you have with the center diff very far back in the car, and also the center dog bones, going through the whole car. So that's why we use the top links on the e-buggy.
Okay. We have 3 more questions, and I think we're going to wrap it up. Mike Sorch, what's up, Sorchy Racing? Get well, born a crime, had his spleen removed over there in Arizona. Or maybe he got I don't know. He went there and had a appendix. I don't know. Said his spleen burst or something. But Mike Sorchy is in charge of his fan club, and he's all excited that there were 3 Kyoshes in the A final at the DNC. I thought I went back to like 2003. Yeah. He wants to know, if you race the worlds, will it be a hand-built machine like you have done in the past?
So I guess he's referring to 10 scale.
10 scale.
Yeah. So probably not. I'll just grab something that is a car on the market today and drive with that.
Okay.
So not a Frankenstein car.
The best car for that surface, I would say.
Yeah.
Kevin Hulbert, how close is the e-buggy to release for the general public?
So I think I heard Joseph and they talk about it, and should be like sometime in the middle of the year if I heard right. I'm not like 100% sure about this, but this is their plan was to kind of get a car out there because we have a lot of requests. Obviously, a lot of people are doing both e-buggy and Nitro, so we want to get a car out there and then kind of finalize, what do you say, like an updated version for next year or something like this. So this is what I heard. So maybe like middle of the summer to the early fall, probably.
Okay, sweet. And Eddie Golden, he asked this earlier. Hi, David. How many shims should I use on each side of the clutch bell? Is it to either side?
Well, it all depends on how much play you have and what bearings and kind of what flywheel cone and everything. But yeah, I usually want to have like maybe 0.2 millimeter of play on the clutch bell. So then you kind of have to see so that the teeth of the clutch bell are, in the middle of the spur gear, I would say. So you don't want the clutch bell to kind of sit like on the very end of the spur gear. You want to have a lot of, the
you want it in the middle of the clutch bell. Yeah, I know what you mean.
In the middle of it of the clutch bell. So then maybe you will have to put like 3 or 4 of the chims on the inside to move the clutch bell more forward, or maybe you can put them on the outside. But yeah, usually I just make sure to have the clutch bell in the center of the spur gear. That's the most important. And then like having probably like 0.2 millimeter of gap play there, and then the bearing will have will run pretty smooth.
Sweet. All right, I think that's all the questions we have. I think it was a good hour and 10 minutes of talking DNC. I see you still got racing going on in the background. I guess you'll be there till a little later.
Yeah.
I think that's it from everybody. I want to thank you for your time. It was a great chat with you, David Viking.
Yeah, for sure. If there are some Mayako Performance community members in here watching, I'll be going live on Zoom here right as we end this meeting. So if you go to Discord, you'll find the invitation to Zoom, and you can join me there.
Yeah, and everybody send best wishes to JQ to get well so he can record, because he has a lot to talk about, he says.
He has a lot to explain, and I think even though he might not be I don't know what to say, but he told me that he has nothing to do with it, but of course he has. Maybe it was nothing that he did that night, but he could have been from the past. In any way, I think just JQ in a group of Americans with alcohol is not a great combination.
You know where he should have been? At home, in bed, like I was.
And I think you should be able to kind of enjoy yourself.
He should have been home.
No, you can, of course, enjoy yourself, but I think he has to also think that he's kind of representing a brand now that, is not JQ Racing anymore. It's a little different, and he has, a bigger.
I agree.
Bigger market, let's say, more customers. So he needs also to think on this stuff, I think. So for the future, I hope he kind of learned from this and kind of hold back a little bit.
You know what? He's 40 years old. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Hey, he should have been in his bed like you and I. And then I told him, you should have been home trying to figure out how to make these cars go faster. That's what you should have been doing.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your time. Good luck have fun at the track this week.
Okay. Thank you.
And maybe I'll see you soon. Maybe there's maybe IBC might be potentially a place I go to.
All right.
Cool.
You all enjoy.
Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you. All right. I can let you go. I'll do my spiel here and then we'll go. Thank you, David. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody. So we're going to end it there. Thank you all for joining us for the hour and 10 minutes. We will be dropping a podcast hopefully Friday with JQ. He's been sick. As you can hear, I'm also a little bit sick as well. I just wanted to say thank you for all you guys for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. If you haven't hit that sub notification button on the NNRC YouTube, please do that. Excuse me. Also check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Hit that like button. Thank you to all of the NNRC squad around the world. I can't do it without you guys. Thank you for all the support. Can't not do it. Lots of big things going on this year. Working on a lot of things. Thank you to all of the patrons of the NNRC. Can't do it without you guys. If you wish to be a patron or YouTube member, links in the written description. Also, join. Remember, next week I'm going live on Whatnot. I'll post more links about that. Come join me if you're a buyer or seller. You like eBay, try this out. I'll do some collaboration with them. And thank you to these awesome companies. If you guys wish to buy something from them, we have links and everything for them in the written description. We have affiliate links. We have some coupon codes. Using them greatly helps us out. And thank you. They are Invisible Speed, High Tech RC, Sunpadal USA, Mayako, Beach RC, Techno RC, Clinic RC, Ignite Design RC, RaceCraft USA, Call RC, WRCE, House of RC, RCGP. Shout out to Ronnefalk Racing, JTP Racing, 36 Minute, and Alexander HagBerg. Thank you guys for everything. Shout out to everybody. I know we're gonna talk about all the races next week too when I get geeking out with Max. So thank you all. With that said, I'm trying to find my outro. Lefty is out as soon as he finds the right outro. Bye-bye.